From the Sidelines on 1580 KGAL.
A good Friday morning. Welcome. It's not just a Friday. It's not just TGIF. It's TGIFF. Friday and February. And I think that's terrific. As a summer person, I dislike January. There's something about it. If you have a birthday in January, I imagine it makes it special, and that's great. But I just wait to get through January. And I know there is only 24-hour difference between January 31st and February the 1st. But to me, it's a tremendous difference. Last night, there was moonlight on the road for the first time in a long time. Stars, same thing this morning. There were little plants that were sprouting outside. We don't know what they are. Neither Mary Jo or I are sure what they are, but they have the guts to be sprouting because it's February the 1st. So welcome to a happy From the Sidelines here. I'm Radio Ray, and there are some smiling people only because it's February the 1st. And by the way, I've already told you, I think that was the fourth time. Let me ask the first question of the day. I'll ask this of Wally Ordeman. The very intelligent and likable Wally Ordeman graces our program once again this morning, and I'm thrilled by that. By the way, he's going to have a roast next fall. People are going to roast Wally Ordeman.
Are you in charge? Are you the MC?
Come on, man. No, I am not there.
Are you going to come?
No.
No, I haven't.
Wow.
No, roasts are supposed to be funny when you insult someone. I don't want to get up and start insulting you and get personal, So, you know what I'm saying?
You aren't even going to come?
I haven't been. I don't even know anything. Ryan mentioned it to me the other day. I don't know. But I'm just saying he's going to have a roast in the fall. I can imagine. That's going to be open season, It'll be like the first day of deer season.
It's a roast.
I've heard it described as my life is low-hanging fruit. That these roasters it'll be easy pickings for them.
That's a better analogy for it. I was going to ask you today's question. Could you please pronounce for me the name of the month that took over after yesterday?
Yeah, February.
What is it?
I know where you're going with this.
No,
I don't pronounce the R. I don't.
Oh, please, no more. And Rob Allen, the lovable Rob Allen.
February.
What is it?
February.
Oh,
very nice. Very nice.
The School of English of Radio Ray Pitts.
February. It is February.
I know that's how it's spelled.
Well, then why don't you pronounce it?
95% of the population doesn't say it that way, so I don't either.
I used to say it the old
February.
way. Yeah.
Sure.
It's just lazy.
It's February.
Yes, it is.
Somebody put the time to put the R in that month. How do you simply dismiss it and say, I'm not going to pronounce it? What, are you better than the person that initiated the names of the months?
I am truly not better than the person that came up with the spelling.
Boy, I'd like to be in that roast next year. Here's a guy that thinks he's bigger even than the person that named the months. Let's hear it for him. Wally Ordeman.
Oderman.
No, don't go there. No. Don't go there. That was too easy.
Oh, I even pronounced the first R. Excuse me. Wally Ordeman.
How about Oderman? Oderman.
No, just Ordeman. No, we can't. No R's.
Oh man, is it time to move on?
No R's because we're not going to pronounce the R's, are we? We just decided I don't want to.
It'd be a little challenging with your name.
Well, yes, obviously so. But I do.
Sound like Elmer Fudd.
Well, why say that to me? What?
Waspily Wabbit.
Wady away?
Wady away.
No, it would simply be ADOA. It wouldn't be Wady away. It would be ADOA in your book because you simply dropped the R's, and how foolish that would be. I'm just saying, I am surprised at you. I thought you were a very caring person and would put the R in, and I thought maybe Rob, being a little more casual, would be the one without the R, and it's exactly flipped.
Mine is not a conscientious slight on anyone.
February objector.
Or I'm not a February objector. Yeah, that's what I am. I'm a February objector.
All right. I just say somebody put the R there, and you will hear on the morning update each day a true intent to pronounce that R throughout the month of February, because it is there.
You see how hard you had to work to say February?
Well, it was one of my platforms as a presidential candidate to drop the R because it is a nuisance. It's annoying. Nobody says it. But I say to you, because it is still there, and I would have dropped it, and then you'd be able to say February, and you would be right.
Mm-hmm.
Except I think to keep to keep the whole pattern, we would have had to say February. We would have
Valid.
dropped the second R as well if we're going to start doing it. Just start dropping R's left and right. But as long as it's there, I'm the kind of person that says, someone put it there, let's take care. That's my message. All right. Could we pause for a moment of silence to start this program? We had Lance Armstrong besmirched with the allegations first of enhanced drug usage, and then he admitted to it. Manti Te'o went on the Katie Couric program and admitted that he did refer to that girlfriend even after a couple of times after he knew that it was a hoax, because he felt embarrassed. Understandable, but it was a little shocking. And this week, one that just sent it over the top. Alex Rodriguez has been accused of drug use. Did you hear that?
I did.
I did.
I had no idea.
Yep.
There's your moment of silence and laughter.
February Fools. That's... But how sad that is. Let us go back to the time when the Mariners had Alex Rodriguez, Ken Griffey, and
Randy Johnson.
I was looking for the first name. Thank you. I was going to drop it to Andy.
Yeah.
Andy Johnson. Just to please Wally, and I was working on it.
Let it go, Ray.
Man,
And-
dog with a bone.
And Randy Johnson. They had the three of them on the same team. I mean, that's as great as, Mantle and Maris and Whitey Ford and some of those Yankee teams to try to get three players of that stature on one team in Seattle. How sad it was that they couldn't keep those three together and win championships with them, go to a World Series with the three of them. And out of the three, they let Randy Johnson go in a year in which he was doing very poorly. Suddenly he went to the National League with Houston, was the first team that he spent time with. All of a sudden, I believe he finished that year about 10-1. That may not be exactly right, but I think he lost one game and won 10. And suddenly he was phenomenal. Couldn't pitch that well the final days with the Mariners. Why? So for that reason, I've always been anti-Randy Johnson. Always felt he didn't try in that last year. But they had to let Randy go because of money. And then they had to decide between Alex and Ken Griffey. And they decided, Griffey said he wanted to go back home, which would have been Florida. He went to Cincinnati, but his dad had connections there. And then they had to let Griffey go. And the one that remains is Alex. And Alex was going to be the franchise designated franchise player like they have in the National Football League right now. He was it. They invested their money in him, a good amount of money, and he jumped to go to Texas. That was the final straw. And that really upset me, that he would jump the Mariners when they made, they let Johnson go, they let Griffey go. They knew they could only keep one, and basically they really made an effort to keep Alex, and they did, and then he jumped. I've never forgiven him for that. And then it turns out that not only was he a bum because of that he started to juice up. What a shame. He was one of the true greats when he was a youngster. And you look at the home run lists, Ken Griffey Jr. and Alex. Alex surpassed Ken Griffey Jr. But has there ever been any type of allegation against Griffey for drug usage?
Not that I've ever heard.
No.
Wouldn't it be shocking if anybody ever came up with anything for him?
Oh, my.
I mean,
wow.
He didn't look like it. He never acted like it. Never went on a burst in his later years. Instead, he declined continually in his later years. Griffey, it's so sad that Griffey could not have been the one who stayed. Well, he did. He came back again, but if only he could have been the one that stayed and had stayed rather than the Alex Rodriguez thing.
No, I agree. And there have been thoughts about Rodriguez over the years, and he is linked to this latest report. More information will come out. We'll have the same discussions about him that we did about Clemens and Bonds, the rest of them. See what this has to say.
Well, he's been tied to that group in Miami, and apparently they have his name as it's a company, if you will, that sells the enhanced substances. And he may even face suspension in the major leagues. He might not play next year because of his injury, his injury at the end of the season. But he may not play next year because of suspension.
If he had just used deer antler spray.
I've heard that a few times.
I wanted to find some antlers this morning, and I didn't know where I could.
Oh, I bet he did.
I didn't know where I could suddenly come up with that. To put out, I had no idea where he could find them at the last minute. Maybe rent them or something.
It's that time of year.
It is supposedly undetectable.
Yeah.
Or do they test for it?
There had been rumors, and we could have talked this better if he were not here. There have been rumors that Scott Landgren was using that deer antler spray.
Yeah.
And,
well, he recovers quickly from his ailments and injuries. Yeah, he comes back.
That's why he's the toughest looking guy here in the studio.
Yeah, you don't want to mess with me.
Yeah?
No.
Me either. You know that.
That's right.
You've seen that, haven't you?
But it is February.
I'm pretty sure Rob and I could take you both.
Yeah.
Pretty sure.
I don't know. I'm short. I could go after the knees, though.
Better get control of this, Ray.
I come in, I just throw the pot, Ray.
I'm coming over the desk.
Uh-oh.
This is like
don't mess with me today.
This is like the day of the dentist office a couple of years ago, where I went into the dentist office in the summertime, and I've been flying one day, and I was a little bit down, and it was a hot day in the summer, and I got in the dentist office, and I was tired, and I didn't recognize anyone in the dentist office, and I was embarrassed, and I thought, this is, there's some things now I can't remember, and this is a few years back. And it turned out that what had happened, that my dentist had retired, and there was a new, younger dentist that had taken his place. And so they went through this whole thing where they take x-rays of your teeth, and then the technician starts doing numbers for your teeth. 5, 4, 3, and I was getting a lot of 5s and then a whole bunch of 1s. Now I knew one or the other was rotten because didn't know which was good.
5s, the 5s are.
But it took them about an hour. And when the new dentist came in, I finally realized what was going on. The new dentist came in, a young man, and he started telling me about this work that I needed. And I said, well, my dentist for the years never said anything about that. And his response to me was, well, you're old. And I'm telling you that frosted me. I wanted to get out of and I've been there for about an hour. I wanted to get out of the chair at that point and show him what was what.
You know what our line is the rest of the day.
You're old.
You're old.
It bothered me. What do you think, Scott? You're young enough. If I tire quickly, could we take the two of them?
I'd rather have nobody in my corner, Ray. It's you and me all day. All day.
Nicely said. Let me rest for a minute.
Bring some.
Oh, jeez. Oh, boy. I better bring some deer antler spray to this fight.
Now, this is a sport. This is a sports program where you've got the 4 people matching up and getting ready for a fight in the parking lot.
That's it.
That's what I call a sports program. That's good. Super Bowls. You know that game that's being played on Sunday? The Bills and the 49ers? Oh, wait. The Bills are not in.
No, they didn't make it.
They had their 4 straight.
This year.
Yeah. They were close, though.
They had their 4 straight wins.
That's a bad football team.
The dentist, years ago, it's been a long time.
Oh, no.
He said, you're old. Let me ask you then. I remember the first Super Bowl. I remember the first football game. Do you remember the first Super Bowl?
No, I sure don't. What year was that?
1967. I was a senior in college.
and I was
15th year.
These guys weren't born, and I was 5.
Yeah.
I do not remember.
I remember half of the teams that were in it. Green Bay and Kansas City.
Oh.
Did you know that, Scott?
No.
You're behind a computer. I
I
can't
am.
see you real well.
No.
Scott Landgren has joined us, by the way. Wally Ordeman, Rob Allen, Scott Landgren. It's good to have the 3 of you here. The first Super Bowl, Kansas City and Green Bay, and I do have the score over here, something like 35-10. I was going to say 35-14, 35-10, the first one. Kansas City had won the American Football League championship, because at that time you had the National Football League and the American Football League, not conferences, right? And Kansas City won. Who did Kansas City defeat to get into the first Super Bowl in January, when they used to play it in January? Now it's the next month. In fact, it was early January. What was it say? January 15th was the Super Bowl. Who did they beat?
Buffalo Bills.
Buffalo Bills.
Wow.
Isn't that? Buffalo could have been a loser in 5 of these. 0-5. So maybe it's better they didn't make it. But the year prior, they had won the American Football League championship. So in 1966, had the Super Bowl begun, the Buffalo Bills would have been the representative. And as you know, they can't be beaten in the Super Bowl. They probably would have won their 5th, won the first
Your
one.
recollection of history is incredible.
It's called virtual reality.
Uh-huh.
You may think I'm old, but I adopt some of the new standards. So the Kansas City Chiefs showed up, and they lost 35-10. The second year, and I do remember these things. I have it in front of me over here on the computer, but I do remember these. The second year, who won the Super Bowl?
Green Bay Packers.
Green Bay Packers is correct. Yes. You forgot to hit.
Banking these days can be pretty impersonal. You've got your big banks, your internet banks, your do-it-yourself banks, and your too big to fail banks. That's wwilliam you might be interested in an alternative. Willamette Community Bank. Hello, this is Bill Higbee, residential lender. You deserve better service without sacrificing a thing. So if you're feeling underserved, make the switch to the best banking option out there with branches in Albany and Lebanon.
Willamette Community Bank. Service like no other. We promise. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
The 4th Annual Community Crab Feed and Charity Auction, sponsored by the Corvallis Knights of Columbus, will be at 5 p.m. February 16th at the Benton County Fairgrounds. Some charities that are supported by this event are Lynn Benton Food Share, the Mario Pastega House, Oregon Special Olympics, Stone Soup, and many more. Get your tickets at communitycrabfeed.com. Tickets are $35 each, and sales will close February 9th. There are a limited number of seats, so visit communitycrabfeed.com and get your tickets today.
Lebanon shopping, it just makes sense.
Myra's Cookies makes fresh-baked cookies and cinnamon rolls. Perfect for get-togethers, meetings, family treats, or thank yous. I deliver locally or mail. Hi, this is Myra. Call me now at 541-905-5152. That's 541-905-5152 for Myra's Cookies.
Need tires? Hi, this is Don from Canega Tire Factory. From lawnmowers to tractors, cars, and trucks, we have what you need. And Canega Tire's ASE certified mechanics can help you with your brakes, shocks, struts, alignment, oil changes, and stuff you won't believe. Even propane for your barbecue and RV. Canega Tire Factory, still at the Y in Lebanon.
Looking for a specific business or service in Lebanon? Call or come by the Lebanon Chamber of Commerce and Visitor Center. We'll put you in touch with the business you need for any situation. 1040 South Park Street across from Canega Tire in Lebanon.
Lebanon shopping, it just makes sense.
They're motivational and inspirational.
Stories that make you ask yourself, now, why didn't I think of that?
I'm Greg Anestis.
I'm Bob Smith.
Hear how everyday people came up with the ideas
that launched million-dollar businesses.
Why didn't I think of that?
Monday through Friday on KGAL.
We know all about running with ideas in Lebanon. That's why the Lebanon Chamber of Commerce is a proud sponsor of your program, Why Didn't I Think of That? Spread the word and tune in every weekday morning at 6:40 on KGAL. You'll be inspired by some amazing business success stories.
Are you thinking about attending college or looking to improve your job skills? Consider attending College Night at Lynn Benton Community College on Monday, February 4th from 4:30 to 7:30 p.m. at the Albany campus. Visit with faculty advisors and explore your career options. Learn how to finance your college career and how you can earn college credits while still in high school, as well as learn about special admissions programs. College Night is free and open to the public. For information, call the admissions office at 541-917-4847.
Into the woods and onto the waters. Listen to Northwestern Outdoors, Saturday nights on Smart Talk 1580.
I will jump back in here to From the Sidelines. You know, as a long-time broadcaster, I understand that just as I sometimes yell at the radio and yell at the people that are on the radio, that some of you have the incredible gall to, yell at me at times and say that's stupid or you're stupid or insult you, and go up and even turn the dial. But when the computer does it, when the computer cuts you short and starts making comments such as, that's it, I'm not going to listen anymore. I mean, the computer just burst in there and took us right off the air. That's the worst thing that can happen. I'm going to go back and go Davy Crockett on the computer. You know what that is?
I've got to believe it involves a musket or a sword or something.
Buddy Epson, who was his pal George, used to say to, what was his name that played Davy Crockett? The line in the show was, give him what for, Davy? I'm going to go back and Davy Crockett that computer.
Watch out.
That said, we are back, and we were talking about...
Super Bowls.
What?
Super Bowl history.
Super Bowl II.
You forgot to press the buzzer, but that's a good answer by you. We're talking about the Super Bowls. The second Super Bowl matched Green Bay and Anybody?
Buffalo?
No, not Buffalo. Buffalo's not in the Super Bowl. Oakland. The Oakland Raiders were in the second bowl, and they lost pretty big time, too. What was that, 33-14? It's about the same margin of loss. And then Super Bowl III. Super Bowl III. I was in the service, and we were listening on that Sunday, and that one made me nervous because I was an AFL fan with Buffalo in the league. Who played in Super Bowl III?
Man, I've got nothing.
But that's the big one. That's the big turn of events.
New York Jets.
Jets.
Oh, and the promise.
And Baltimore.
The guarantee.
Jets in Baltimore. And the Jets won. And forever turned the tide of football because the American Football League within 3 years had beaten the National Football League. Joe Namath with the guarantee of a victory, and the American Football League won. And those of us that were in American Football League cities were happy. Happy evermore. The Buffalo Bills had come along in the 1960s. Their first coach was Buster Ramsey. Looking for some familiarity.
We have to trust your recollection of history here, Ray.
Well, Buster was a tough guy. It was like he was off the street. Hey, what's going to happen? And they had this Sunday program, this Buffalo Bill program. I mean, now football is huge. It's everywhere. But then to see a program on Sundays about the Bills was big. And I don't remember whether it was just one time or a movie that they were showing us, a film they were showing us in school to promote the Bills. But a famous line that we had in our family is Buster Ramsey saying to one of his assistants, his name was Breezy. They called him Breezy. Hit the lights, Breezy. And that meant he turned off the lights, and then they turned on the projector. And they're showing Buffalo Bill films like he's watching film, from a silly projector. That was class in about the mid-1960s. Buster Ramsey was the first coach. Lou Saban was the second coach of the Buffalo Bills. Lou Saban. Does that name Lou mean anything to you?
Does Lou?
No, the Saban.
Yeah,
Saban does. Another one. You hit the buzzer. Saban. Yes. You're down.
He asked the question, does Lou mean anything to you?
Yeah, I know.
That was the question. You're old.
He jumped. I'll take you and the dentist at the same time.
Bring a friend.
Hit the lights, Breezy.
That way, because I would lose to either one of you. If I lose to the two of you, I have an excuse. See? Always thinking. Even when it comes to this.
Not just a hat rack,
outside in the parking lot. Saban. What is that name?
As in Nick?
As in Nick Saban.
As in Nick?
Nick Saban of Alabama.
Who is Nick Saban?
Coach of Alabama.
Right.
Now, his father was Nick Sr. His cousin, and I find that hard to believe it was a cousin. I would have thought it was an uncle. His cousin was Lou Saban, the second coach of the Buffalo Bills. Isn't that terrific?
So what does that mean to you?
Well, it just means a lot to me. I wondered on the way in, Lou Saban, the coach of the Bills, and Nick Saban, they are related. They're cousins. Saban, though, was the coach back in the, in the end of the, probably the 70s. By the 70s, he was a coach for the Bills. But that's exciting news, isn't it? Super Bowl IV.
All right.
Super Bowl IV. Who wins that one? Kansas City beat Minnesota. And I remember that because there was a little tavern in Utica where I was teaching school. And the bartender was a big NFL.
He was teaching school in a tavern?
No, I was not teaching school in the tavern.
All right, kids.
Hey, I wasn't there. So I'm
out. There was a tavern where the bartender was this big NFL fan, and I hated the NFL. I wanted the AFL, and we bet on that game. And I remember that Sunday night going into that little tavern in Utica, New York to collect my money. Like $2 something. Big time. I always like to roll.
I hope you had backup going in there, because did you have backup going to collect your money with you?
Oh, no, I didn't need
like
it.
Like a posse of people?
He wasn't old back then.
Yeah, take a look at me now.
Well,
I wouldn't need it back then.
Oh, okay.
And let's see, Kansas City won that one 23-7. Really convincing.
Close one.
Len Dawson, I think, was. Remember, you know that.
Sure.
Man. Len Dawson, I think, was the quarterback. And then what happened in? Oh, I know 5. I already know who was in 5. Anybody have any idea who was in the 5th Super Bowl? It was really boring. It came down to the end. Might have even been. I'm not sure it was overtime, but it was right at the end of the game. Baltimore and Dallas. Baltimore and Dallas. Isn't that strange? Two teams from the same conference?
Wow.
Baltimore and Dallas? Anybody answer? Why? He's looking for the answer. Why Baltimore and Dallas? Baltimore beat Dallas on a silly pass by somebody. I don't remember who it was. Roger Staubach, maybe, for Dallas. And Baltimore beat them an interception and I think a field goal to win the game. Why Baltimore and Dallas? Doesn't that seem strange?
I'm not sure why it does. Well, I don't know where you're headed.
Well, what's the question?
The Baltimore Colts lost to the Jets in Super Bowl III. The Jets from the AFL and the Colts from the NFL. 2 years later, in 1971, Baltimore and Dallas are playing.
Oh, then they're in the NFL. And that's the NFL.
What is?
I'm not sure where he's going with this.
I'm about to stick a fork in my ear. Where are you going?
What is that? It seems strange. How could that be? Baltimore was playing the team from the NFL in 3. They were playing. They were playing the team from the AFL. They were playing the Jets. Now, 2 years later, they're playing Dallas from the NFL. So, do you have 2 teams suddenly from the NFL?
Is that after they had blended
the merger? The merger. Sorry, wow. No points. 2 years.
That was a struggle.
I am now dumber for having taken part in that for the last 30 seconds.
Unfair. I should have made it clearer. I just find that an interesting bit of history, and there are a lot of younger people in the audience that would not know this history, and this should be an instructional program, that because the AFL had won 2 years in a row in 3 Super Bowls, 3 and 4, and it took them such a short time to reach parity with the National Football League, they threw the flag up. Just like you would if we went into the parking lot.
Illegal contact.
I'm just looking. I'm looking for my flag. I know I brought it. Just in case. There it is. Let me take the tissue out there, white tissue, and drop it. 2 years after the AFL started winning, they immediately wanted a merger. Because the AFL was getting the star players, they were getting Namath, they were getting many other of the star players were suddenly coming to the American Football League because they were now outspending the National Football League. And they saw suddenly that the salaries needed to increase, they saw that they needed to compromise, they needed to merge. And they did. So they had 3 teams from the American Football League went into the National Football League, and that's why they're there today. We have 3 people over here. Can you name one? Wally Ordeman. One team from the American Football League or National Football League that went into the American Football League. The American Football League had 10 teams. They needed to equalize the numbers, so they had 3 teams from the National Football League go over. Who were they? One? In Super Bowl 5.
Well, it wasn't Dallas. Dallas is
Baltimore. Baltimore went into the National Football, or the American Football League.
Okay.
The Colts the Baltimore Colts became an American football team, American League, not the Ravens. So Baltimore went to the American Football League. Baltimore, in addition to the Ravens victory, whatever that was, 7 years ago or something, Baltimore has another championship in Super Bowl 5.
Wow.
When they jumped from the National Football League to the American Football League. Now we were happy to have them there because the American Football League still won. So after 5 Super Bowls, the American Football League, the old American Football League, was up 3-2 on the National Football League. Isn't that fascinating?
Interesting.
So there's Baltimore. Who else went? Can you think?
Minnesota?
Ray Pitts.
Pittsburgh.
No.
Pittsburgh. That's why the Steelers... That's why the Steelers, who were a force in the National Football League, went to the American Football League. And the third team that jumped was another big team from the National Football League. That was the surprising thing about it, is these weren't schlocks. These weren't sleepers. Baltimore was a power. Pittsburgh, yes, in the old, they had 2 divisions in the Eastern Division. Pittsburgh and the Giants were big rivals. But the third one that we haven't mentioned,
I'm going to say Oakland.
Cleveland. The Browns were big.
Powerhouse.
The Browns were a powerhouse in the National Football League with Jimmy Brown. They were a true power. They and the Giants ruled the East in those days. Those 3 teams, none of which were bad teams, went to the American Football League. And there was a lot of discussion about that because now, they were still going to be the American Football Conference. People still recognize them as the American Football League, I still root for the AFC because of that. They got Cleveland, Baltimore, and Pittsburgh. And Baltimore and Pittsburgh, maintain, Baltimore since they came back as the Ravens. And what's interesting about that is they came back because which team went out?
Cleveland.
The Cleveland Browns. So they have that connection. The new Baltimore team is the old Cleveland franchise, and the people in Cleveland hate that team because they lost their franchise to Baltimore. And even, Sunday will be Baltimore in the Super Bowl. Nobody in Cleveland is rooting for Baltimore because they hate the fact that they took their team. Fascinating stuff. I know there's a lot of silence. This is more boring than I expected, but I think that's because you guys are so stunned by this bit of history.
Well, and I mean, a lot of things that are coming up are things that just, unless we were students of the game, because we either weren't born or were so young, it just wasn't part of our fabric.
Do you have to keep mentioning the weren't born thing?
I'm trying.
Couldn't you do it without saying you just weren't? We weren't born. I mean, it had to be like 105 years old. Remember that. But I think that's a bit of fascinating Super Bowl background. And then you got 6 and on, and it's boring until we get to the 90s when the Bills win 4 straight.
And what number are we on now?
47.
47?
Is it?
I have no idea.
I think it's 40.
XBULMNOP.
After you get so far in the Roman numerals, I glaze over.
Yeah.
And 47.
I wonder when that came about.
Yeah, well, can we eliminate the Roman numerals?
Yeah. Now, who made that up?
I'm with you on that.
Oh, the Roman numerals?
Yeah.
I don't know. Some Roman guy, because it goes back to the days of Rome. That's why I remember it. I'm old enough to remember.
Oh, boy.
That's what we used. We used Roman numerals in those days.
His name was Raymond Greco.
It was a long time giving your phone number, I can tell you that.
Yeah, no doubt.
You had to write for like an hour and a half with all kinds of things. And plus, when you dialed it, you had to hit all those letters. And some of them were in, the same little part on remember the rotary dials?
Oh, yeah.
And you had to hit it twice. It was awful. 47 this year. So we'll take this break, and when we come back, you guys can discuss what you think about the Super Bowl now. I love the history of it because of the fact the Bills were denied a chance to be in that first Super Bowl game. They were the power of the American Football League till they met stupid Kansas City, and they lost by a couple of points and missed the first Super Bowl and missed history, being a part of history. That's why it was only right that 4 years later they would make it 4 years in succession, the only team to do that, and they won all 4. That's why that's proper. Can we take this break?
Sure.
We'll come back and you tell me what you want to talk about, and we shall as we continue from the sidelines.
The Osgood File, sponsored in part by Barbasol Shaving Cream. Start your day with Barbasol, America's leader for a close, comfortable shave. Close shave, America. Close shave, Barbasol. This is Charles Osgood. At the Marine Corps Air Station in Tustin, California, south of Los Angeles, there's been a successful test flight of a huge 230-foot prototype of a lighter-than-air cargo ship. Designed to carry more of a load than any other aircraft ever has, to disaster zones or to forward military bases. First test lifted it only a dozen feet off the floor of the military hangar it's stored in for only a couple of minutes, but the engineers who designed it say, so far, so good. More after this.
Most people who run a small business will tell you that there are limits to what any one person can get done in a single day. After all that buying, selling, handshaking, even the best multitaskers start to feel overwhelmed at times. But remember, you're not alone. The UPS store in your neighborhood is ready to help. With professional printing services like brochures, flyers, and business cards, your hard work will be represented the way you intended. Their mailbox solutions save time, make life easier. With a real street address, email, or text notifications when mail and packages arrive, and package acceptance from any carrier. Also, their custom packing and shipping solutions give you confidence that your shipment's been packed with the know-how of a certified packing expert. With all these great services in one convenient location, you'll find that multitasking is as easy as visiting your local UPS store. To find a location near you, visit theupsstore.com.
The UPS Store franchise locations are independently owned and operated. Services, pricing, and hours of operation may vary by location. See Center for details.
The cargo aircraft being developed by Worldwide Aeros, the Aeros craft as it's called, uses helium but has 2 other means of flight, says aeronautical engineer Tim Kenny.
This vehicle has 3 modes of flight. It satisfies all of those. The traditional blimp flying, vertical takeoff from a helicopter, and then you have fixed-wing aircraft flying that this vehicle can also do. So this vehicle does all 3 modes of flight.
Which would be used on a given mission would depend on the particular military or disaster relief situation, but it could replace fleets of helicopters.
We see a huge relief of that. Being able to take a massive amount of supplies to one location and drop it off and service, what may take 20 or 30 helicopter trips to get there, this vehicle can do it in one at a fraction of the cost.
The Department of Defense and NASA are picking up $35 million of the cost of the initial testing. How about using a great big truck? Forget that, says engineer Munir Jojo Verge.
A truck needs a road, and roads need to be taken care of, built, and it requires a lot of our taxes to get built and maintained. This vehicle doesn't need any ground infrastructure whatsoever. It can take it from point A to point B without any requirement.
The Osgood File. I'll see you on the television come Sunday morning on CBS. This is Charles Osgood on the CBS Radio Network.
Are you thinking about attending college or looking to improve your job skills? Consider attending College Night at Lynn Benton Community College on Monday, February 4th from 4:30 to 7:30 p.m. at the Albany campus. Visit with faculty advisors and explore your career options. Learn how to finance your college career and how you can earn college credits while still in high school, as well as learn about special admissions programs. College Night is free and open to the public. For information, call the admissions office at 541-917-4847.
Jay Farner here from Quicken Loans. We get a lot of tweets from folks that sound just like this. Jay, I bought my home in 2007. Since then, it's gone down in value. Now I owe more on my mortgage than my home is worth. Can I refinance? The answer may very well be yes. Recently, the government announced changes that may allow folks to refinance even if their home has lost value. For example, if you owe $300,000 on your mortgage, but your home's only worth $150,000, Quicken Loans may still be able to help you. Or if your current mortgage rate is higher than 3.99%, you've got to give us a call today at 800-QUICKEN. And for 3 years in a row now, J.D. Power & Associates has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation in customer satisfaction for primary mortgage origination. So, if your current mortgage is higher than 3.99%, or if you owe more than your home is worth, call Quicken Loans today at 800-QUICKEN or go to QuickenLoans.com.
For J.D. Power & Associates award information, visit jdpower.com. Important terms and conditions apply. Calls for cost information. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states and MLS number 3030.
Yahoo Sports Radio, weekends on 1580 KGAL.
Yahoo!
Hi, welcome back from the sidelines. 1580 KGAL, locally owned and operated. Very pleased and proud to be local. Something very rare in radio these days. I'm Radio Ray, that's Wally Ordeman, that's Rob Allen, and that's Scott Landgren here from the sidelines. By the way, I know on Sunday they're bound in the pregame, which starts, I think, later tonight. It's all-nighter. Really every year, it's a little longer. They probably will refer to the fact that the Ravens have won their only Super Bowl appearance, but they probably will mention that the city of Baltimore has been in 3 Super Bowls. And for those that are either too young to remember or forgotten, you will now know, and I expect you to tell the rest of your party that day. You know, I learned that on KGAL K-Show Radio. It's a very smart, intelligent talk show that they have on Friday mornings. Thank you.
I'm sure they'll say it just like that, too.
We would appreciate that. That's probably the way most of our listeners do speak, you know. No insult to you, ladies and gentlemen. No, please. Oh, get away from the dial. You can take a joke, can't you? Come on. I'm shocked. I have this screen over here. It says 1991. Giants 20, Buffalo 19. I remember that. Wide right, you idiot. Washington 37, Buffalo 24, 1992. 1993, Dallas 52, Buffalo 17. How I remember that one. And finally, in 1994, when they gave up the ghost and have never returned since. In fact, they have the longest string right now of not being in a playoff. It's either 12 or 13 years in succession that they have not been in the playoffs. In 1994, Dallas beat Buffalo 30-13. And I think that may have been the one where, who's the little running back? Thomas.
Thurman.
Thurman Thomas, thank you.
His nickname's Thermal. Sorry.
Thank you, Bob. Rob. Thurman Thomas couldn't find his helmet to start the second half, and that's when we knew that we were in trouble. By the way, did you know that, speaking of things that you can pick up from KGAL and K-Show, like that little bit of Super Bowl information, if you go to our website, kgal.com, or our sister station website, kshow.net. You can get one free ticket. You just print it out. One free ticket to the Lynn County Spring Home and Garden Show this weekend. 3 to 8 today, 10 to 8 tomorrow, 10 to 4 Super Bowl Sunday. Go to the website, kgal.com, kshow.net, and you can have one free ticket to the Lynn County Spring Home and Garden Show this weekend. Amen. Vijay Singh, did he or did he not use deer antler spray?
He did. He said he did.
He said he did. Oh, that's terrible.
VJ.
But as far as he knows, it's not tested for in the PGA.
He withdrew from the event this week, which is in Arizona. He had used deer antler spray, he said, during the week, but he says he had a back injury. Back injury or deer antler spray? Why did he withdraw?
I would go with back. He's an older fella. He's getting up there about 50 now.
Not embarrassed. He didn't want to have the press asking about deer antler spray. How could you have, what is that? Did that really make you laugh this week, or did it stun you, the deer antler spray thing?
Well, it cracked me up at first. Yeah. I mean, does this have any substance to it? And, what does it really mean? But evidently has some sort of ingredient that supposedly helps with recovery from injury. Who knows? I'm not a scientist.
They might want to check Phil Mickelson. He shot 60 yesterday.
No doubt.
Might want to check it. His joints have been kind of acting up, but...
I know you guys golf. Scott, you don't golf, do you?
No.
No, but I know Rob's a very good golfer, and Wally tries.
Thanks for
that. And Ray, stay away from the golf course,
Here comes
Ray.
more punching. Why are you threatening me this
15 minutes till this brawl goes down.
We'll have to report next week on... Two hits, Ray. Me hit you, you hit the ground.
Ray, you better get loose here. You gotta do something.
I need an answer to that. You guys understand?
You don't mess with Muhammad Wali.
I understand.
Float like a butterfly, sting like a deer antler spray.
Well, they call me, in the old neighborhood in Buffalo, they used to call me Ray the Rabbit. I can get away from you. There's no way that you can catch me.
Pretty sure.
Ray, my car's right by the door. If you want to just hop in, I can drive off.
No, I can do it. I definitely can outrun the man.
Yes.
I have no question
I believe
about
you can.
that. Phil Mickelson last week was in that Torrey Pines tournament in San Diego, and he was horrible. He was like 16 over starting on Sunday, and I don't know where he finished. And 1 week later, he's shooting 60. That has to be something that you guys, Rob, and I know Wally, I know Ryan has golfed with you, that you're very good.
No, I'm really not. But are you asking about that kind of turnaround?
As if I meant it. You didn't have to. You didn't have to contradict it. Everybody knows I didn't mean it.
Play along, Wally. Play along.
No, that has to be a little motivation for you that he could turn it around in 1 week. Almost shot 59 would be a record.
He lipped out. He lipped out on the final hole for a birdie for a 59.
Yeah. So that's big. How about, let's see, what else did I have here that was big? Oh, Omar Vizquel has been hired by the Los Angeles Angels as a roving infield instructor. Explain that to me. What is a roving? Are the Angels going to use an extra infielder? Or
right behind second base,
Yeah. You got a left-handed hitter up, you'll go play over on the, by first?
Yeah.
Is that a roving infielder?
Kind of like slow pitch.
Yeah,
right. Softball player.
Yeah. They're going to use 5 infielders? What's a roving? The Red Sox could use that. Certainly would improve their ERA from last year. But he's 45 years old. He's been hired by the Angels as a roving infield instructor. Now then, what would you like to talk about?
We got kind of a big game coming up on Sunday.
What is that?
That would be the Super Bowl.
The Bills aren't in it. What do I care?
Oh, my Bengals aren't either. Lost in the first round, but they made the playoffs. That was making a point.
Did they make the playoffs?
They did.
Did they?
Yeah, lost the first round.
They've been in one Super Bowl, and they lost to the 49ers. Right. Are you rooting against the 49ers then?
We've had 2 weeks to think about this, and I really have no vested interest in either one of these teams. West Coast I like, so certainly the 49ers. I will probably pull for them. What I found this year, Ray, is that this particular year, and I don't ever remember feeling this way, there's more on the in regard to each team. I'm finding myself dwelling on the people that I don't care for on these teams as opposed to the players and coaches that I do.
Me too, because I'm not involved with either team, right. So it's who do you dislike?
Right. I'm not a Ray Lewis fan. I'm well documented in saying that.
We both said that last week.
And I'm not a Jim Harbaugh fan. I don't like how demonstrative Kaepernick is, but I like the fact that he played in the West, that he played at Nevada. I will find myself pulling for the 49ers. I can't watch a game and say, I don't care. That's just not my nature. So I probably ultimately will be pulling for the 49ers. It's probably the least vested I've been in a Super Bowl that I can remember.
One of the few times I would go against the AFL. I still call them the AFL rather than the AFC. And I would root for the 49ers. Same reasons you just mentioned.
But I do like Flacco. I mean, I really do. I like Flacco. I like how he goes about his business. I think he's a very talented quarterback and very underrated. I think he's tremendous talent. But I'll pull for the 49ers.
Mr. Allen.
I'm an AFC guy. I'm going to go with Baltimore.
Oh.
Yeah.
But don't you dislike them with the Ray Allen thing? Do you not dislike that?
I think people deserve second chances. Yes, he was obviously in a bad situation many years ago, but I agree with Wally. I've seen too much of him on TV lately.
Oh, get him off there.
Yeah, get him off.
So now you
TV.
want him let him win the Super Bowl.
But it's not just about Ray. I just think Baltimore is playing well. They're both playing well. I mean, they could go either way, but I'm going with AFC. I go with the AFC.
Did you forgive Lance Armstrong after the talk with Oprah?
A little bit, but
a little bit. But Lewis involved in a murder, and also admitting that he used the deer spray too. He's one of the two this week.
But I will say this, Ray, that if San Francisco wins, I mean that with Kaepernick and we're talking about the running kind of combination, running, throwing type of quarterback, that will. Yeah. I mean, with that kind of quarterback winning the Super Bowl. Both teams have great defenses. It's going to be a great game.
It's not just Ray Lewis's history. That's not it for me. Yeah, I don't appreciate how that all that happened. But I understand, second chances and all that. We've talked about that before. Absolutely. Give him a shot to come back and make a career out of it, and he has. It's been an awesome career for Ray Lewis. But I think that the how demonstrative he is, the fake tears, just everything, the whole package that comes about. And the other thing that's troubling me here is name one other, and you know that there is at least one, probably a few, name one other Baltimore Raven that is retiring after this season. Maybe after a long, storied career with them.
True,
maybe a lineman, maybe two.
Has to be somebody.
Ed Reed has been mentioned.
Yeah, where's the press about these guys retiring?
Right.
Talking about the Ray Lewis farewell tour. Garbage.
Johnny Unitas.
Yes.
Over to you,
yes,
Scott.
I heard.
Wow. Raymond Berry. So they're probably retiring. Scott?
Well, I don't really have a rooting interest, but I would probably say the 49ers as well, just because.
But will you root for them? I mean, will you pull for them? Or?
Well, yeah, I mean, I want them to win, but I don't. I don't really have an NFL team. I'm much more of a college guy, so, but I would root for the 49ers. I don't have a problem with Harbaugh like a lot of other people do. If you look at what he's done, he's a great coach. I mean, he's taken programs that were down and made them good. I don't have a problem with him. I like Kaepernick. I like the way they're doing it. I don't like what they did to Alex Smith, but I do like him.
I would say Kaepernick sounds like Fitzpatrick. It's the closest you can come.
That's always about you, isn't it?
It's not about me.
It's all about you.
It's the Bills.
And the teams you love.
Well, what is it with you? What is it with you? You just said you don't really like either of these teams. Neither do I.
We did just talk about Omar Vizquel, and he had to mention Boston. So.
I never said I didn't like these teams. I never said I didn't like these teams. I said I don't have a vested interest in these teams.
I had a misstatement when I said that Lewis guy that I don't like admitted using the deer spray. Apparently he says he didn't, so there's been no admission yet from him. But I would think the first thing I would like to see from some of the players from San Francisco is when they get near him. I'd like to see that. That would be the greatest put down on the field. Would they throw a flag if they did that, if they went over to Lewis and
or a target
started sniffing?
How about a target?
May we, right on the back. May we take this time out? So that's 3 pulling for San Francisco for no particular reason.
Right.
Other than maybe a dislike of Baltimore or something else. Mine is a dislike of Baltimore. They knocked the Browns out of football for a few years. And it's the whole Lewis thing, and there's just something about them with the nasty, we're hitters, and we want to kill. I don't like them for some finesse. San Francisco speaks of finesse to me.
I will pull for the 49ers for this reason and this reason alone, Ray, so that we don't have to have an hour and a half of Ray Lewis.
Amen.
After the game.
We'll take this break, come back and finish up from the sidelines.
Shop now, Lancaster Mall.
Enter to win the Lancaster Mall KGAL K-Show Valentine Getaway, valued at almost $500. Prizes include one-night stay at the Inn at Spanish Head Resort Hotel in Lincoln City, La Quinta Inn and Suites in Newport, Oregon Coast Aquarium tickets, flowers from Lollipops and Roses in Salem, and a delicious box of chocolates from Victorian Chocolate Factory in Lebanon. Sign up now to win a Valentine Getaway at the display near Bath & Body Works and the Lancaster Mall. Log on to KGAL.com for more info.
Lancaster Mall.
The Lynn County Cultural Coalition will be handing out money in February. If you belong to an organization involved in music, visual arts, historical, heritage, or humanities activities in Lynn County, and you have a project that needs funding, why not apply? Go to lynnculture.org for more information. Application deadline is February 15th, so get yours in now. lynnculture.org or call the Albany Visitors Association at 928-0911. That's 928-0911. The Willamette Master Chorus, Director Paul Clemmy, special guests and soloists wrap up the French Connection season with their winter concert. 2 chances to catch this exciting concert: Saturday the 23rd at 7 p.m. or Sunday the 24th at 3 p.m. The concert will feature the rarely heard dramatic oratorio by Hector Berlioz, The Childhood of Christ, with full orchestra and soloists. Go to their website, WillametteMasterChorus.org, for more information or to purchase tickets. The Winter Concert by the Willamette Master Chorus, Saturday the 23rd at 7 p.m. or Sunday the 24th at 3 p.m. Hudson Hall, Willamette University in Salem.
Sunday, the San Francisco 49ers and the Baltimore Ravens square off in Super Bowl 47. Hi, this is Kevin Harlan. Join me and the rest of our Dial Global Sports crew from New Orleans for all the action. For the first time, brothers will coach against each other in the Super Bowl. Can Jim Harbaugh lead the Niners to their 6th NFL title, or will John Harbaugh and the Ravens prevail? Tune in to find out. If it's Super Bowl 47, it's right here.
Pre-game at 2, kickoff at 3:30. The Super Bowl on 1580 KGAL.
Want to really know more? Just point, click, and learn from the Mid-Valley's best website, KGAL.com.
All right, we'll just to jump back in here and finish up from the sidelines today. We have sports for you this weekend. The Ducks tomorrow, after losing to Stanford. Boy, Stanford knocked them out of the football championship game, although maybe they still might not have made it, but they had a shot. Stanford did it to them in football, and then the other night they knocked them off in basketball and break that undefeated string. You got to hate Stanford for that reason. But tomorrow, the Ducks and Cal, that's a 1:30 game time, 1 o'clock pregame here on KGAL. We'll have the Super Bowl on Sunday. Our pregame on radio starts at 2, game at 3:30. It's on the radio. And tonight on K-Show, West Albany and that's Silverton type. First place. You think West can beat them on the road?
Yep,
Yeah.
Sure do.
All right. You can't say no here. It's going to be tough, though. That's for first place. West 1 game back of Silverton, losing at West earlier this year. That's 7 o'clock on K-Show. Ryan and Wally. And tonight, Scott will join me at Dallas.
That's where the game is. That's the action right there.
That's the game of the week. Dallas beat the Warriors the first time around. Can the Warriors win tonight?
Yes.
You can't say anything other than that on the radio.
That's right.
And that's 7 o'clock this evening on KGAL. Any final sports comment of the week? Were you really impressed by what you learned about the Super Bowl background and history?
I was. Thank you, Ray.
Thank you, Mr. Allen. That was nice. The rest of you were kind of silent. Scott?
I learn something every time I'm with you, so I just...
As do I.
And you?
A lot of knowledge.
Yep.
Thank you.
Bless you. Bless you. We shall see you next week from the sidelines. Have a good sports weekend, everybody.
The Mid-Valley home of Smart Talk. This is News Talk 1580 KGAL, Lebanon, Albany, Corvallis.